Do. There we go. Let me do a join Atos and Ravlox for a Friday stream. Hey, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Hollyhock. We're in unofficial Friday stream. Whoops, I did not actually do it. There we go. All right, now that's set up. Hollyhock, we will get it. That is Sanyo, who is still in New York and has not had the computer access he thought he would have. And I guess our audio is working because no one's yelling at me about audio not working. And actually, I have to check. I vaguely remember him saying it was done already. So maybe he did it and it just hasn't been pushed to live yet? Because I haven't done a live patch in a few days. I know I did the snow patch, but that was literally a single file change, and I just moved that to single file. So maybe it's on there? You might try go checking on QA. Seeing if it's correct on QA. If so, then I just need to get a new live patch out, and I'll take care of that. I'll get a new live patch out here. I'm hoping, again, some of the stuff I'll have to repeat. Oh, thank you for the raid, Z of Silverdale. Nice to see you streaming. But I'm trying to get... Ravlox has been the only one who's listening to me. There's a channel on our chat, on our team chat, that no one listens to, because all it is me babbling for hours and hours and hundreds of lines usually before most people get up. But I'm trying to fix a ton of existing problems. So I've got the new build machine is up there. Ravlox helped me rack that 2 weeks ago. We've run a few builds on it, but it's not fully compatible yet. I've still got some more work to do. It's like so many different little tools and plugins get it compatible with all the build settings and things. But the early builds on it did cut an hour and a half off the build times. There's been a couple other things that cut time off build, so we're in the like 5-hour build time now. Once we get the new machine in there, that'll be 3.5 hours. I'm hoping some changes I just made that I'm testing now will cut another, possibly another hour off. We'll see. But again, my dream is to get us down to 2-hour builds. That's my goal for the end of the year. But I'm also upgrading Unity versions, which is the thing that broke the last builds that I tried doing. Which is I installed Unity, but I did not install the Linux and OS X versions of Unity. Let's see. Oh, Kodo Special. Let's see. Do I have emails out? I only have 5 emails. That's right. I did do them. I'm pretty sure I did the last Kodo Special for everybody who was on at that time. I do need to get over and check them out again. But today we're going to be doing at least one... Hey, Zolivar. We're going to be doing at least one read-through thing here of... what is it? The Christmas... I'm trying to remember what it's called.
Novian Carol.
Novian Carol. I'll have to wander around and find it. Do. And is there a Kodo special today? Oh, that's the real reason you're here. I see. Thank you, House of Mangar. Thank you for the raid. And all the other stuff. And as I'm sure you saw, Zol, that I got in... those changes I said I was making on your stream, I had them in, but I didn't actually submit them. They've now been submitted. They should all be live on QA, along with a few others. I'm hoping to get out probably Monday at the rate things are going, but I'm hoping to get a new live patch with lots of stuff, including that stuff in it. But that may also fix Holly's problem as well with the Stonegate. And Pikachulis, thank you very much. And yes, I am feeling better. I'm like 90% now. Oh, there you are. Where do we go? I'm like 90%. I'm not hacking up as much crap anymore. Hey, turkeys. Oh, you know what? I never ungianted the turkeys. I need to shrink the turkeys back down. Either that or make them vicious attack animals that start killing people.
There you go. Somebody had asked about that in the forums, and I had put down a thing that the Nobian turkeys increase in size around this time of the year as a defensive measure.
And let's see, we got 13 minutes till the unofficial stream. Because we're not, Stark said we weren't doing a stream today, so this is just me doing a just for fun stream. But I will be doing prizes. Now, I am going to be doing, as an unofficial stream, I am going to be doing the normal prize thing. So hold on, let me get the giveaway. Let me find some. I'll give away great prizes because it's freaking Christmas time. And, no, I haven't been drinking. And it is also a Friday stream. So we'll start off with this 4-story Yule. Oh, that's the Yule tree. I thought I was giving away a house. Let me not do that one. Let me give away the, oh, Viking. We'll give away, maybe we'll do something like that for the last one. Hey, thank you, Eileen Dragonfire. Apparently I interrupted everybody's raids. Or streams. What do we got here? Let's see. Fireworks. Maybe some nice, it's kind of a mid-sized thing here. See, I like this one here, right here. This stone 2-story keep. Let's start off with that. It's going to be, maybe we'll just do, like, give away all houses today because it's a cool Friday stream. Stone 2-story keep home. Okay. 2-story keep home. Bam. It's open. Oh, hold on. No, I'm resetting it. Hold on. You're going to have to do it again. Okay, go. Now it's open. All right, so we did not have anything today. The theme was going to be we were going to go and read this carol that... I'm trying to remember. I think it was for Duke Gregor's... Let's see, I got the backstory on this. I was going to wait until 4 to start reading that off. I'll read off the backstory. I'll read it off now, then I'll read it off again. Oh, and we are doing questions, of course. Get your questions in. Let's see.
I'm being told my volume is low. Let's see how this is now, guys.
Yeah, I've got you maxed out over here. Let me make sure this is maxed out. There, now try it.
Test 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, you're still pretty low.
Wonder why?
You're not that low, it's fine. Let's see, maybe I can do something. Yeah, I think that's probably as high as it's going to get. Anyways, you're fine, they can hear you. They'll just have to project.
Understood. Active.
And thank you very much. Thank you very much, Elron, King of Elves. Got some crafting changes coming your way here. Now, Scanforce says he can't hear a thing on you. All right, let's see if we can figure out what's going on here. Mine's just doing desktop audio. Okay, they say it's hard to hear you, like really hard. You have me like plus 20? Let's see. Here, try talking some more. Oh, that's way low. I think that's just coming through on my speakers. Hold on. That works, so maybe it sure seems like that should be it. Here, keep talking some more. You're not talking enough.
Talk about large turkeys at Novia.
That's good. Just talk about stuff. I'm trying to see when I make changes here.
Okay. So the large turkeys at Novia are amassing, and they're getting ready for a mass attack against everybody. That's basically what's going on here. That's why they're so big. And that's why there's so many of them around us too. It's like the movie Lovers. Scary.
Why is that not showing up? Oh, you know what? Maybe is there a volume thing on Skype?
Yeah, there could be on there too. I got mine maxed out right now.
Let me try down here on this thing. Let's see. So those are all pretty much maxed out on the volume. Let's see if there's...
Hello?
Yeah, I mean, I can always go back to the old style, the ghetto style. We can do that. Let's see. This is how Star and I used to do it. I can't seem to find anything actually that is. Okay, so I think I know what it is. Okay, here we go. Pro pre-stream. We have 6 minutes until the pre-stream. Want to talk about anything in game? Okay, I got this. Totally got this. Hold on. Let's see, Realtek. There we go. And then I gotta come over here and do Realtek here. Okay, now try it.
Test 1 2 3 3 2 1 test. Rubber baby buggy.
Okay, now you're crazy loud, but I can't hear you. Awesome. I know he's loud now, but I can't hear him.
That's funny.
Challenge. Maybe it's just like my headphones, because I've got the sound all the way up to that. Why is that so low? No, now they can't hear you at all. All right, we'll go back to old school. The old school version. You want to try talking now?
No, I don't want to talk anymore. I'm too tired of talking. Talking is underrated.
Okay, there we go. I think they can probably hear you, and I can just hear you on the thing. The only downside is when someone gives us bits or whatever. Yeah, there. That right there. Okay, both are good now. Even my coughing. Oh, that's good. I love that I share my screen so they can see exactly what I'm trying, and I'm sure they're at home like yelling at me like, "Dummy, that's the wrong one." Okay, it's got to be the output from that goes in, and I've got to pipe that over there, but I've got to be able to hear it too. Oh well, this sounds it sounds like this is going to be good.
All right.
We'll just make sure this stays close and we're both good volume levels. Sibilance. Okay, I think we're good.
All right.
Yeah, if only we had some tech person here to deal with this stuff.
I do have all 8 of the Novian Carol books in my inventory, so.
Oh well, they've got like a little path set up.
Yeah, I haven't been able to find that. I don't know where
Oh,
it
you
is.
haven't been able to find it? I'll have to go, I gotta... It's somewhere around here. Oh. They set it up for the welcome quest. I walked through it, but I teleported to him, so I don't know where it is. Around there? Ignore the lag, that's just it being weird because I cheated. Does anyone remember where this thing is? See, I thought you would know and would be there, so
Yeah.
I didn't worry about finding it ahead of time.
Right after we chatted this morning, I went to sleep. And when I got up, I had to help Scotty. His car had broken down last week, so I went and helped him
You
get it.
Oh yeah, may have feedback. And I'm sure you know the story of the car. Is he fixing it up again?
Yeah, it's all fixed. I just picked it up today, so.
Aha, I think I found it. Yes, found. Do you know how to teleport to player?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Oh wait, now somebody's texting me. Someone trying to tell me where it was. Poof.
All right, there you go.
And yes, I'm coughing still, but I'm actually pretty well. I've actually started exercising again. And I mentioned on my Twitter health problems. That was actually my wife's dad was having some. He has like AFib. I didn't know what AFib was, but heart stuff. Just beating irregularly type stuff, and we were going in for a procedure. It was bad enough that they told me to get in for a procedure. They told him that on the 23rd, that emergency, get in for a procedure, but we can't schedule you until after Christmas because, you know, it's Christmas.
Oh yeah. That's
Yeah, so let's try and make sure everybody dies on Christmas because you don't do hospital stuff on Christmas.
Yeah, way to increase your stress, you know.
Yeah. He's still with us, though, but he is pretty tired. They did do the procedure, though, so hopefully it'll make a improvement. And let's see, we will start up here in 1 minute. So I'll go ahead and do the first giveaway here.
Okay.
1 minute. Do you want to share? I forget how well Skype handles sharing a screen. I was going to say, maybe you share your screen and then I can run and give prizes in the background. We can just have your screen on there because no one wants to see our faces anyways.
Okay, let me see what I could do about that.
Oh, and I still need to get that stream. People were asking about stream prizes, and I haven't had any time to think about it, so I'll just throw up the same thing I had last time. And I do see I have a couple emails. I know I did all the ones up through like right after the stream, but if there may be a couple people that I missed last time just because I haven't been on to give away stuff. I've been working like crazy, just not on that stuff. Do.
All right.
Let's say I see Serenian Malorian says they did not get one. Well, this is good because you can do that stuff.
Sweet.
And I will go get caught up on the other stuff. Let's see.
What am I doing? What? Who? Where?
Let's see. We want to do... Oh no, you got chat up on there. Oh, now it's going to be on the stream forever. Wonder what that was. Now I got to go look and see.
Split second.
Oh, it doesn't matter. They go back and look. Here, hold on a second. I'm going to mute everything. There. Sorry, I'm just reading over what was on that to see if we need to like do anything weird for the stream. No, it's just me complimenting Shimizu and Minerva on a nice story. And I think that's probably it. I don't think there's anything. Yeah, it looks like I did my prizes.
The only thing I was on there was us discussing whether or not I should read the book, or you should read the book, or whatever.
And then you saying you're going to bed at 7 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably showing me up at 4 a.m. So it's good. We overlap quite a bit. We have about 3 or 4 hours every morning. All right. Well, I think we're ready now. I'm going to let you do all that stuff. I will go make sure my prizes are delivered, and I will be giving away prizes in real time. So when we do it, you'll get them immediately. First, let me read some a little background on this. So this was, I think it's Shimizu and Minerva and Duke Gregor, maybe? But here's what Minerva just sent me. Hey, a little backstory on the venue. This was built for the Duke Gregor's Welcome Quest a couple weeks back. I wanted something that tired in Christmas and Novia. I'm thinking that's supposed to be tied, like we did for Mardi Gras, showing this side of the rift impacts Novian side. We wanted something that was visual and static. I suggested we use a space to illustrate a story, and Shim is the best person for that. So it sounds like Shim did the story, which means a cat as a spirit. Let's see, we'll leave that up until January 13th when they celebrate Saint Nuts Day. Apparently there's a Saint Nuts Day. All right. Anyways, there you are. You are welcome to get started there.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, the frame rate's actually pretty good. Like, it's not as good as it is direct, but it's probably 15 frames a second. It doesn't look horrible.
Cool. All right. All right. So we are here at the beginning of this path, and the first book, A Novian Carol, Book 1. Cool. Okay, A Novian Carol, Book 1. Books on Stream. Read by Ravalox. Written by Shimizu. That's my best audible. Just going to cover the screen, but... Okay. The first snowflakes began to fall today. My servants, ungrateful, disobedient lot that they are, begged the day off. Some foolishness about building snowmen with their children. I will take it out on their wages. You can be sure of that. But alas, this means that I must myself travel to the local market to stock up on winter provisions.
Sorry.
Donning my fur hat and cloak, I wait impatiently while Albert, my chief steward, hitches the horse to the wagon. He works quickly at least, though less out of diligence, I expect, and more because he's eager to rush home as usual. His family is very needy, and a lot of them have no respect for a good work ethic. The number of days Albert's had to take this afternoon off because his whelp is supposedly sick. Well, I'm afraid I must just have to fire him one of these days if he can't get his priorities in line. And so, dismissing my steward with a nod, I climb into the wagon and set off on a journey to the local market to stock up on supplies before the conditions become harsh. Even though autumn is barely dwindling, I note that the villagers have already started to haul out the decorated pine trees and gaudy garlands, and everything is absolutely draped in red and green. I suppose it should come as no surprise that people here observe the same absurd midwinter traditions that they did before coming to Novia. even though such traditions are completely irrelevant in this world. Peasants. Despite the cheerful decorations, the villagers continue to trudge through their daily lives as normal, expressions dour, faces downturned, as if they have so much to complain about. Each of these families has 4 walls and a roof, which is more than they had before settling on my land. And yet they mope about and act like the very reasonable taxes that they must pay to maintain infrastructure are a terrible hardship. I, for one, understand the value of a gold coin. Better than the likes of this lot, like most of them, I came here with nothing but my own 2 hands and a mindset for an honest day's work. On the sweat of my back, I earned my fortune, which has multiplied many times over due to wise investments and shrewd bargaining. I've done quite well for myself, truth be told, and these dirty farmers think I should pay them to stand around after the fields are planted. Ridiculous! I have arrived at the farmer's market. There's not a great selection. They obviously keep all the choice crops for their own use and try to offload these slightly wilted ears of corn and other sad-looking produce onto their suspecting customers. I am no fool, though, and barter at great length before buying up the best of it. They even expect me to pay them to load all these crates into my wagon. There's just no customer service anymore. So we move on here, and we have the second chapter. Around a little bit. Okay. As I wait for the farmers to load... Get out of my way. As I wait for the farmers to load the goods, a tugging on my cloak causes me to turn. A filthy child stares up at me and points over toward the pillory where a criminal of some sort is earning his due. What business is it of mine? The man was probably a thief. I turned back to scold the child, but he's run off. Looking closer at the pillory, the man's face looks familiar to me. I approach slowly and seeing me, the face speaks, "Come down to see how the other half lives, eh?" the man says. His voice is familiar, though hours of thirst have made it a bit raspy. Looking closer, I realize the man looks astonishingly like Roland, the steward who managed my estate prior to Albert. Had to term him out for stealing. I'm sad to say, but I heard he died years ago. This must be one of his children, and the apple clearly didn't fall far from the tree. If here, in the criminal's square, chained to a pillory, the crowd passes by around us, all pretending that they don't even see him. "I see you followed in your father's shoes," I said, glibly, and turned to leave. But he lets out a rasping laugh and says, "It's me, Roland." "Preposterous," I replied. "Roland died years ago. You'll not convince me to free you from that contraption with these outrageous lies." But he continues to speak and went on at some length, recounting events and shared memories from earlier times. Roland had been a shrewd businessman back in the day, before he squandered his wealth in poor investments and ended up in my employ. "Anyway," he finished, "I'm paying for my sins now." He nodded his head toward the length of the chain shackled to his ankles. "And now, it's too late to save me, though you could perhaps save yourself." I asked him to speak plainly, tiring of talking to a dead man in riddles. "In 3 days is the Yule celebration, but you'll be granted a final chance for mercy," he said. "Mercy from who, pray tell? The Oracle? Its arm is long, but I have given it no reason to question my virtue," I said confidently. That rasping laugh again, that cough. "Believe what you will," he said, "but believe this, you will be visited by 3 spirits. The first will arrive before the clock tower tolls midday tomorrow. Nonsense, I replied. Spirits, I'm no longer amused by your silly game. This time I do turn on my heel and walk back toward my wagon. The prisoner calls out after me. We were friends once. Don't waste this chance. The chains that will bind you will even be longer and heavier than these. As I walk away, the receding sound of rattling chains echoes in my mind. I turn to respond with a suitable retort, but he's gone. The pillory, the prisoner, all of it, simply not there. I blink to clear my vision, then shake off my momentary confusion and return to the market. Wagon fully stocked. I count out the coins owed and pay the merchant, then turn and head back up the road toward the estate house. Removing my hat and cloak, I carelessly toss my coin pouch, containing more than what the lazy peasants managed to earn in a year, into my treasure room. A few coins leap out of the bag and land on the growing gold pile with a satisfying clink. I do love that sound. It looks like Albert has gone home for the day, and there's no sign of his wife. What's her name? The kitchen wench, either. Looks like I'll have to prepare my own supper. Typical. But when I get to the kitchen, I find a plate, still warm beneath an overturned pot lid. At least the wife saw it fit to complete her duties before running off. Probably afraid she'll lose her job, and not all masters are as generous as I. I dive into dinner with enthusiasm and retire to my quarters, leaving the dishes. Someone will clean it up in the morning. There's the pillory. There's the third book. Bright white light reflected through the window the next morning, from what I suspected and later confirmed to be an absolute blanket of snow covering everything. A good thing I made the trip to town yesterday. If I'd waited for my staff to do it today, we'd have had difficulty. I silently congratulated myself on foresight. I yawn and stretch and head down for my breakfast. Curiously, the familiar smells of frying bacon and baking bread are absent. When I arrive at the kitchen, what's-her-name is busily scurrying about, but the snowflakes, not yet melted on her hair, betray that she has only just arrived, hours late for her assigned shift. Seeing me, she mumbles something about the sick kid. That excuse has gotten a bit tiresome, but assures me breakfast is underway and that Albert will be here later to attend to his duties as well. She hands me a freshly brewed cup of coffee and manages half a smile. I grab the cup and slightly audibly head out to the covered balcony. A servant quickly follows and stokes up the fireplace, then departs without a word, leaving me to my solitude. I sip my coffee and stare out across the snow-covered landscape at my domain. In the distance, the spectral mountains loom defiantly. I hear the sizzle of bacon now, and a servant has come and set out a pewter plate and cutlery. I think this one is one of Albert's kids too, though I'm not sure. The morning drags on. I finished my coffee and my food has not appeared. Turning to look back into the house, it seems that the wind must have blown the doors closed. Getting up from my chair with an annoyed grunt, I go to push them open and demand to know the reason for this delay. But what's this? They're frozen shut. A cold wind suddenly blows, rattling the dishes on the table and extinguishing the fireplace. The sky seems to darken, and I take a step back, surveying the skyline as if for answers. And then I look down, and it seems somehow a tiny cat has managed to climb up here. It is fairly nondescript, a cat as cats go, but its eyes are piercing green. It looks up at me and meows. But in my mind, I hear the words, "I am the ghost of Yuletide past." You are a stray cat who has climbed my manor wall searching for food scraps. I say defiantly. But as you can see, I have yet to have my breakfast either. I gesture noncommittally toward the frozen balcony door. The cat stares up at me expectantly. Oh, this is ridiculous, I say, and move to give it a firm kick. But the critter scampers out of the way just as I lose my footing on the icy floor tiles and fall spectacularly on my back. As my vision dims and blurs, I feel the tiny cat feet climbing onto my chest, where it sits, absently bathing one paw, then turns to stare directly into my eyes as my vision fades to blackness. I'm standing outside the window of a modest college, knee-deep in snow. I know this place. It's a house I lived in back on Earth before my journey to Novia. The cat jumps up onto the outside of the windowsill and presses his nose to the glass. I peer inside. There I am, sitting at my desk scribbling away busily. My family's smiling faces are laughing and stringing popcorn onto the Yule tree. They try to get me to join in, but I've got too much work to do, the other me says. I find my own mouth mimicking these words outside as I watch. The snow melts. It's a clear but cold morning. The children come bouncing down the stairs, rushing to open presents wrapped in bright paper. Inside the house, the other me manages the hint of a smile, which turns to a frown as one of the children gleefully unwraps an expensive toy. Knowing what's coming, I frown and I say, "You think money grows on trees?" And the other me inside the house repeats this a moment later. I watch myself wrestle the toy away from the child. I watch myself retreat to my desk. From this new vantage, I see what I never did before, the slow, tear-filled cleanup of ribbons and paper. The silent preparation of the holiday meal. Then brought to me at my desk because I was too angry to sit with the family. Time passed quickly now, year after year, holiday after holiday. It's always the same, at least until the year they left. I woke one morning to simply find them gone. No note, no word. At the time, I figured they'd be back when they realized how good they had it. On the other side of the glass, which has grown frosty, I am watching the children being led out of the door carrying bundles. Outside, the cat chooses this moment to sit directly in my field of view and begin to bathe. I try to push it out of the way to see the looks on their faces when they left, to understand that moment. But the cat turns and glares at me with its piercing gaze. I feel the pang of something in my chest. Is this regret? I have no regrets. I did nothing wrong. I was a good provider. They were lucky to have me, weren't they? Book 4.
By the way, the secret backstory to this is I promised that I would read this to Minerva and Shimizu, and I thought it'd be easier if I just had you do the audiobook version. That's all we're doing this.
So far, so good, I think. Okay. Act 2. The cat sends me a The cat sends me a disapproving glare and jumps off the windowsill. "Come on," it says. "We've seen enough here." I take a step to follow, and suddenly we're outside another building, this one roughly constructed. I recognize it as the Tavern in Sultan, where I, having freshly arrived in Novia without 2 coins to rub together, spent my first winter. I peer through the window. The bard is singing a cheerful tune, and the townsfolk clad in festive attire danced and clapped. And there, in the shadows, mopping the floor to earn the night's rent, there I am. A few of the villagers come and try to entice me into their dance and celebration, but I cling fiercely to my broom and scowl intently at the floor. I turn my back on them, and they return to the festivities, leaving me to my chores. The bard sings a sorrowful tune, and me, that was, sweeps the broom slowly in time. The next year, the harvest was poor, the cat says. Most of these villagers had to leave their home, take up jobs in Ardoris when their crops failed. Those that didn't starve. The building disappears. The cat and I are now sitting at a table in an affluent inn located in the heart of Brittany's Noble District. This is a year later, after I've improved my fortunes by buying up the scarce wheat and selling it for a high price to those that could pay. Look, there's another me in that corner eating that 3-course dinner and gulping wine at a table of fine, dressed folk. What is it you wanted me to see here? It was a fine year, I demanded of the cat. The cat leapt off the table and walked over to the slightly ajar door, poking his head through the opening. I followed, looking out. There in the streets, a family shivered beneath a makeshift shelter. I watched as the mother sliced a single precious bread roll into 5 smaller pieces and handed it to each of her children. She herself ate nothing. Recognize them? The cat asked, fixing me with its green stare. I squinted through the falling snow, and yes, it was the innkeeper's family from Sultan, although I didn't see the innkeeper himself. Dead, said the cat. Starved to death, not 20 paces on the other side of that wall. It inclines its head toward the feast table where the me of the past is working on my 3rd helping of dinner. Why tell me this? I didn't know. What could I have done? I say. The cat seemed to shrug, then scampers out into the snow. I try to follow, but the ground is slick, and I stumble and fall onto the cold flagstones. When I wake up, I am flat on my back on my own balcony, staring up at the swirling snow. The cat is nowhere to be seen, and there is no evidence, not even a paw print, that it had ever been there. Book 5. The next day dawns, and the snowstorm shows no sign of relenting. I am loath to leave the warmth of my bed, sore and stiff from yesterday's ordeal. I toss and turn, unable to sleep. I hear servants scurrying about, and the hour is nearly noon. Finally, hunger and thirst and resignation lead me from my chamber and down to the dining area. I approach the table where the midday feast has been laid out. On the far side, breakfast plates piled with ham and bread have gone untouched. Albert's wife has just emerged from the kitchen with a tray of warm rolls. As she takes a knife and carefully cuts one of the loaves into slices, in my mind's eye I am seeing the innkeeper's family huddled in the cold dark, seeing the mother's hands carefully cut and measure. I blink, bringing myself to the present. A bad dream. I've taken a chill. I must have been staring because what's-her-name is looking at me expectantly. Very good, I said in response to whatever she must have asked. She spreads a thick butter on the sliced bread and then withdraws to the kitchen, leaving me to my meal. Wait, I called out. She pauses, turns, and awaits further instruction. Here, I said, I rose late today, and this morning's ham is cold and the bread gone. Bread gone stiff. It's no good anymore, and I have this roast pork to eat for lunch, so why don't you take it to your family? Her eyes grew wide. and as if worried I'd changed my mind, quickly wrapped up the ham and bread in a cloth. "Bless you," she says, and scurries from the room. Feeling a bit smug satisfaction, I proceed to indulge in my meal. When I finished dining, as was my habit, I ventured into the library and read through the day's market reports and do my work. As was proper and expected, fresh candles had been lit at my desk, and a jug of fresh Palladis wine awaited me. I poured myself a glass and sat down to the task at hand. A rustling noise from behind me caused me to pause briefly. "You know I'm not to be disturbed when I'm working," I called out to whoever the intruder was. "Oh dear me, I do beg your pardon, most august master of the house. How silly of me to interrupt your dilly-dallies when it's only your soul that's at stake." I spun around in my chair. "I'll have you know this is important financial work, and you... I stared at the intruder in surprise. "What are you, exactly?" The voice belonged to a woman, small in stature, with brightly colored attire that seemed to adhere to no known fashion whatsoever. She wore a sparkling hat, and behind her, leafy wings flapped as she moved to sit herself on top of my desk, scattering documents and papers in every direction. I only scarcely rescued the inkwell from spilling. "I am the ghost of Yuletide presents." "You knew I was coming, right?" I grunted and bent to pick up the scattered papers. "Bop," she said, rapping me on the head with some sort of baton. "None of that. We have a different sort of work to do." "Yoo-hoo!" I felt dazed for a moment, but recovered. I reached up, rubbing the sore spot where I was, bopped. "That's going to bruise," I said. Probably," she said, as if it was no consequence whatsoever. Then she leapt off the desk and fluttered into the air, strewing scrolls and papers absolutely everywhere. The audacity! I chased around the room, trying to pick up this one or that one, while her high-pitched laughter echoed throughout the high walls of the library. Winded, finally, I had to cede defeat. "What do you want from me?" I asked, exasperated. She smiled and winked, and spun her baton around. Books and papers swirled around her like a tornado, and suddenly we were no longer in the library. Instead, I found myself peering into yet another window, only this time it was a house I did not know. A house I did not know. The furnishings inside were tattered, the floors and beams in poor repair. It looked like the entire place was about to fall apart. I turned around, trying to get my bearings of where we were, but the woman's cold hands on either side of my face forced my head back toward the window pane. "It's nearly evening. Look, Albert's family is just about to sit down for their evening meal." I watched as Albert and his wife entered the room, followed by two older children who took their seats at a small ramshackle table, supported on one side by a couple of concrete blocks. Go away. Now I lost my spot. There we are. All right. A younger child strolled in behind them, clutching a stained blanket worn to rags. The child jumped up on the ratty chair and carefully arranged the blanket around himself like a coat. Albert's wife was dishing out bowls of stew. The family bowed their heads and gave thanks for their meal. I listened as they particularly mentioned me in their thanks for providing them with this fine meal. The young child with the blanket took a few bites and then, seemingly exhausted from this effort, was fed one spoonful at a time by an elder sibling. The family smiled and chatted about the day's events while they ate their meager meal. "You brought me here to watch people eat?" I asked the woman. "I gave her that ham and bread, you know," I said, feeling quite proud of myself. Yoo-hoo! Yes, aren't we the generous one? She mocked. What's that supposed to mean? Bop, she said, and even with the warning, I was unable to dodge the baton. Yes, the food that you throw away every day would feed 5 families like this one, but you are so generous indeed. Yes, you are. I'll not apologize for being wealthy. I worked hard to get where I am. Of course you did. Of course you did. And I'm sure you didn't step on anyone's neck to do it. You didn't take advantage of anyone along the way. I wanted to argue that this was just good business sense. But the expression on the woman's face warned me that if any such protest would result in further boppings, so I kept silent, staring through the window. What's wrong with him? I asked, my voice a whisper. He's dying, the woman said simply in an emotionless tone. Well, why don't they take him to a doctor? Get him some medicine, I demanded. They've done all they can. The medicines are expensive, and the other children must also eat. She spun around, flapping her wings as if she's just told a funny joke. A vision of the children outside the tavern, many winters ago, flashed before my eyes, then faded as the woman put her face right up against my face, her nose almost touching mine. You, she said, jabbing me in the ribs with her baton, could change this fate. And then she was gone, in a literal puff of smoke, and I was still there, standing in the middle of town with my fine robe and fancy hat. It was a long walk back to the house, and evening was setting in. I sighed and prepared to start trudging up the hill when I heard a door open behind me. Hello? A tiny voice said. I turned and it was one of Albert's older children. I could hear Albert coming out of the house, admonishing the child not to talk to strangers when he saw it was me. Our eyes met briefly, and he asked me what had brought me down to town. I mumbled an incoherent lie about needing something from the market and apparently kept on mumbling because when I stopped, he was offering to invite me in for some stew. I fled.
There's nothing to see here. They're asking for pictures on screen. They wanted some more action.
Ah, okay.
So I'm showing videos of our cat.
I ran through the encroaching twilight as snow beat against my face and the wind pulled at my clothes. The house seemed to be very far away. What had ever possessed me to build a house on top of such a hill? Did they walk this far every day to come and cook my meals and clean my clothes? Finally, I faltered, the house still far in the distance. I'll just lie down a while. I think to myself, sitting in the muddy, icy wagon tracks in the middle of the street. And then I awoke on the floor in my library, my head still stinging from the baton blow, and found it was late into the night. I crawled into my chambers, into my giant bed, and slept dreamlessly. Guess they're not entertained by my crappy reading.
Well, they just wanted more. Oh, I got the thing on there. I didn't mean to get the cover the whole thing up there. They wanted to see pictures.
Oh yeah.
I was trying to give them entertaining pictures.
Oh.
Also, thank you. Let's see. I've missed Z a couple times. Is that Hilf Seal? Thank you for the follow. Scooby Doo, thank you for the bit. Z of Silverdale. Or we're getting closer. There's like 2 left, right?
Yep.
See, now you're showing the paver.
I'm sorry. Now I'm showing what?
The paver. Never mind. It's all good.
Oh. Okay. Oh yeah, I understand. Sorry. Okie dokie. Book 7. I awoke early next morning, restless, alert, Anyways, I'm going to start that again. I awoke early the next morning, restless, alert. It was still dark outside. The snowstorm continued to whirl and howl outside. The house itself was silent. None of the staff would arrive for a couple of hours yet. I made my way through the spacious mansion, past the tapestry-lined walls and the gilded banisters, through the opulent foyer in my treasure room. When troubled, this place always soothes me and reminds me of what I've accomplished and how far I've come. I lit the wall torch and extinguished my candle, and sat in the great ornate chair at my counting desk. The gold coins shimmered and glowed in the firelight. The details of my 2 visitations churned in my brain. I began to refute the visions one by one. Of course there is poverty. Of course there are starving children. It's a cruel world. There's hardship everywhere. I made something of myself. I don't owe anybody. It's eat or be eaten. It's a jungle out there. Satisfied that any stirrings of guilt were completely unfounded, I set about counting my stacks of coin. It occurred to me, as I stacked the crown stamped coins in neat piles, that this was likely more wealth than I would ever spend. More arrived each day from far-flung interests, holdings, and taxes. I could stop working now and just be rich for the rest of my life. I was halfway through considering this possibility when suddenly, although there was no wind, the torch on the wall snuffed itself out. I sat in darkness, surrounded by cold metal coins, and felt a chill pass through my entire being. I squinted, trying to adjust my eyes to the darkness, when there, against the far wall, a face, no, a mask of some sort, like a giant gaping eye, and beneath it, a cloaked figure, an apparition. He seemed to be made of darkness itself. Who's there? Who are you? I demanded of the darkness. Here was no reply, though it seemed it is my eyes. That the mask glowed softly, the eye peering into my very soul. I sat, afraid to move, for what may have been hours, until the door of the treasure room creaked slowly open. It was still dark outside. I can't have been in here long. The dark figure seemed to float toward the door, and standing inside it, pointed out into the night. Its hand was gloved in black, and the bit of flesh I could see beneath the heavy black sleeves of the garment was pale as death. I obeyed. Walking through the door, standing in the hallway, my back to the treasure room, I asked, "You're the ghost of Yuletide future, I presume?" There was no reply. "Well, what are you going to show me? More starving children? I've had quite enough of..." My voice faltered as the house shimmered around me, and I found myself standing in the village cemetery. A small huddle of villagers, wrapped in dark cloaks, stood in the falling snow, looking down at a freshly filled grave. I recognized Albert and began to walk toward him, but the dark figure stretched out its arm, blocking my path. "Oh no," I said. "It's his son, isn't it? The boy. He's died?" The black-clad figure was silent. But no, Albert's wife was not here, nor his other children. His face was so stern, sad. But no, this could not be his boy. As the handful of villagers began to disperse and head back to their homes, I was finally able to get a better look at the tombstone. It was blank. "Who's buried there?" I asked, my voice rising with the edge of panic. The dark figure was silent. "Why have you brought me here? And what's the point of this if you don't tell me what it means?" The wraith-like creature began to dissipate before my eyes. And on the haunting wind I heard the words, "No one will mourn you. None shall remember your name." No. This can't be right. I'm an important member of the Merchants Guild. I'm a noble. Where are the mourners, the priests, the funeral procession? And my family? Where's my family, my children? I find myself kneeling in the freshly turned earth, glancing into the open hole, expecting to see a coffin. but there's nothing there. No, wait. They're catching the light. Gold. The hole is absolutely filled with gold coins. This is not all I am. This is not who I want to be. No, no, no. I turn to run, leave this vision and cemetery and this mockery behind me, but the black-gloved hand reaches out and drags me down. I struggle to find a handhold, a foothold, anything. But I'm being pulled down into the dark, and it's cold. It's so cold. And the snow is pouring into this grave, my grave. And my mind is spinning with visions and sounds. The meowing of a cat, the shrieking of feminine laughter, and Roland's raspy voice saying something about mercy. I awaken with my face pressed against the cold flagstones in front of my manor house, looking up through the swirling snowflakes at the towers looming above me. I feel a wave of sorrow and despair pass through me. A final chance for mercy, that's what he said. A chance to choose how I'd be remembered. Standing there, the snowflakes melting down my cheeks like tears, I chose. Gripping.
Oh, we're done.
Nope, one more.
Yep. Okay, last one. And I'll hang around for at least 15 minutes or so after the stream to answer questions. I know people have been posting a lot.
Okay, here we are. Final chapter. At some point, the snow stopped falling. The sun crept over the horizon and spilled blinding rays over the white, blanketed landscape. I don't know how long I stood there on my front steps, gathering my resolve. When my reverie was shattered by the door opening before me, my eyes, stinging and snowblind, recognized Albert's wife. She ushers me inside, out of the cold, quickly. From the kitchens, I smell fresh bread baking. As my eyes adjust to the inside light, I see green garlands hanging from the walls, woven with red and silver ribbons. Tiny candles twinkling across the mantel, and a tray of gingerbread is laid out on the table, still warm. I hope you don't mind, she starts hesitantly. We wanted to thank you. She searched my face for a reaction, suddenly unsure if the festive decoration of my home would meet with approval or disdain. I walk through the room, past the tree strung with wooden ornaments and glass baubles. I reach the kitchens, where a feast fit for kings is laid out, a servant ready to pour fresh coffee. Then I notice, in the corner, curled up on a pallet in the floor next to the storeroom, wrapped in a blanket, is the small child I recognize as their son, the sick one. I'm sorry, it was so cold last night and he took chill. We brought him with us. She moves to hustle the child out of the room, but I get there first. I pick up the child, cradling his tiny form in my arms, so light, and carried him to the guest bedroom. Placing him on the large four-poster bed, his mother's eyes widen, but she says nothing. To a waiting servant I whisper, "Send for the physician." And I drop a handful of coins into his quivering hand. And as he turns to leave, I add, "In fact, send for the entire town. There's plenty to go around." The man blinked, then hurried off at a run. Albert walked in from outside, his arms filled with firewood, which he nearly dropped when he saw his wife, who had lost all composure and was openly weeping. I do not know what expression he saw on my face, but he bowed his head slightly and then put his arm around his wife's shoulders. Relief and gratitude etched upon his face. He opened his mouth to speak, but the sounds of voices from the entry hall diverted our attention. And so, the villagers began to arrive, tentatively at first. The grand dining hall had not been this full in living memory. They ate, they laughed, they danced. A musician played a lively holiday tune, and the simple joy caught hold of me and found my own feet moving somewhat clumsily to the music. As they smiled and thanked me, I felt myself blush with embarrassment. For all the wealth I had, this feeling, this plain, honest happiness, was something I could never buy. How can you put a price on joy? From outside the house, I heard singing, softly at first, but rising in volume. I climbed to the tallest tower and stepped out onto the balcony. Beneath me, revelers sang and danced, children threw snowballs, and all the townspeople were in attendance. Plates and trays of food were hauled out and shared with all. As they saw me standing there, they united in song. Voices joined in a Yuletide carol, a song of love, of peace, and of redemption. Leaning against the balcony, I felt something brush against my side. A cat had somehow gotten all the way up here. It purred and rubbed its head against me, then scampered down walls and was lost in the crowd. As the day drew to an end, the people returned to their homes and servants began to pick up their plates and clean up the festivities. I waved them away. Go, be with your families. There's leftover food aplenty to see me through the new year. Soon, only Albert and his wife remained. As I approached, the doctor was exiting the guest room. I could not overhear what they told them, but they both looked relieved and embraced the doctor, who tipped his hat at me as he made his exit. The boy would live. And though I know I have much more work to do, that the path of virtue I embrace will be long, the boy would live a long, healthy, and happy life. Perhaps so, too, shall I. The end. Yay.
All right, well, not quite Scotty, but that was way better than I would have done reading all that. So,
Well, yeah, thanks, and I hope Scotty never hears that. I mean, I'm already very embarrassed, but you know.
let's see if I can shrink you back down now. Whoop. Well, I shrank something. Whoop. There we go. All right. So I just sent out the last raffle for those who missed it because they were so enthralled with the reading and they weren't actually reading the chat because they didn't want to be distracted. There's actually the last prize I'm giving away today is my Christmas gift to you guys, a turreted city home. Possibly one of the most popular things. If you haven't raffled up, make sure and raffle up. I'll give that away a little after. I'll try and wrap up things around like 5-ish or so. So you only got to wait 10 minutes and listen to us for 10 minutes. So, again, I babbled a lot before you guys got on, but just so you guys know, I have been working over the break. I fixed some of the GM issues that had come up. I've not gone to test them on QA. That's, in case you're wondering why some of those things don't get testing. They're really hard to test because they rely on both a client build and a server build, and it's a client build that I can't do locally easily. And then it also has to be, it only works on the server, so it requires a lot of like steps in publishing. Honestly, and then we don't have a equivalent to a non-GM build on our dev server, so setting that up would actually take a significant amount of work. So I've usually just been waiting until it gets to QA. So a lot of that stuff I'm stepping through code and trying to make sure, yes, I believe this will work. But again, there's a few things I'd missed on that. But I believe those things will be working out. Maybe somebody can correct me, but most of that stuff should be working. Also, talking to, I believe Catherine Rose is going to run another amazing event soon. I think she mentioned that it's going to be in Blood Bay again, but it'll probably be a little less combat focused. I think there'll be some, but it sounds like there's going to be some geyser jumping contest stuff. I'm actually going to crank out a few new features for the Black Sails event. Probably give GMs away so they can give people a buff that will keep them from dying from falling, so they can fall from a distance, and maybe a super leap as well. So anyways, you can look forward to that happening. And let's see. PvP action has remained higher with the ransoms off. So I'm definitely not turning it off now. But again, it's one of those things. This will probably lead to some conversation about what we do. I know there's some people who want raffle, but there's a lot of people who we get more activity in PvP when there's not. But again, it's also there's so many different variables. That's people are always trying to like get me to make big changes based on some data point. But there's like a million data points. Like right now is the holidays, and the crowd that plays during the holidays and when they play is different. And then of course people got a lot of aggression going on during the holidays, and they want to kill people more. I don't, but I hear that from people who have to spend a lot of time with their families. They don't normally see that much. But let's see. But anyway, so we'll keep an eye on that. I've got a couple of number one priorities, but I'm going to get the Lua party order thing in. I know our party member order. I saw that this morning, but I kind of wanted to work on this build stuff again, because the quicker I can iterate on this build stuff, the quicker I can get fixes out to you guys. And also, it makes it a lot easier for my own internal tests to get some of these things fixed and improved. So, but party member order is next on my list. I'll probably work on that tomorrow morning. And let's see. Expect a live, in case you missed it earlier. You can expect a live build. I'd said Monday, but honestly, this QA build stuff, we'll see how this internal build goes. So far, these are still going okay. I just checked those, but you can keep an eye out for those. I think if those go well, then I'll do a QA build. Might get it started tonight. Integrate and start a QA build tonight. That'll be using this new stuff. And if that goes okay, then probably Monday or Tuesday time frame. Oh, the other big thing is this is a Unity version upgrade is the reason I have to get it on QA, and I'm not going to just push it straight to live. I've upgraded all the build machines internally and got them all warmed up, as we call it. But I'm going to get that version to QA, and I'll let it sit on QA for at least 72 hours to make sure nothing major comes up, in addition to the other bug fixes going in for this. But assuming that goes well, then I will push that to live. Ravlock, you had something to say? Oh, no.
I'm unmuted. So we need a lot of people to get on QA.
Yes, we do need to get a lot of people to get on QA. You can get on now, of course. But this may be, I guess we haven't been abusing this as much or enough. At least it's not as much as other people have been abusing it. This may be the final QA build of the decade. Sorry, I just keep saying that over and over again. Let's see. Again, we got some new GM features coming. A live build early next week. The snow. So as I noticed earlier in the stream, the turkeys are still gigantic. I will be shrinking down the turkeys. I'll probably leave the snowfall through like maybe January 2nd or something. And I just had people recommend that they really like the snow. By the way, this is Snow Storm. It's not very stormy. Let's see. Let me set the game time so it... Oh. Anyways, we need some love to our snow. I had some people recommend we do the weather. Give pot guys the ability to do like the same thing we've done with like the fishing stuff. Just give them a deco. They can put out a deco if they want to set weather style. Which I like that idea, and that's one of those things Star keeps talking about. I personally am not thrilled with our snow that we have right now. I kind of want to get better snow in. So I'm going to try to get better snow in, and then maybe after that or something. But players were recommending I do a giant snowman, make the deco for the pots, make it like a quadruple-sized snowman. Oh, another thing I'd mention just as I continue to prattle on here, before I get into answering a few questions rapid fire, because I only have about 5 minutes left, was the item scaling stuff. I actually put that in a change list locally. I'm going to do some more testing, but it will allow us to go into individual items and change the min and max scale for things. Right now it just defaults to 25% or something like that, plus or minus 25%. But it'll let you scale some things down more, some things make it scaled up more. But, there's a lot of stuff we don't have, like a big, medium, small version of, and it would be nice, if there could be a big, medium, small, or you could make it, significantly bigger or significantly smaller. But anyways, you can look for that. Once I get that tech checked in, that's another thing that'll be, once the tech is in, then we'll probably just go and hand touch, a couple dozen items we know make sense to be scaled up and down, and then let you guys give us feedback on other stuff. Oh, I see someone is messaging me about a message of the day. Yes, I will add that message of the day. 1 second here. You want to talk for a minute, Steven? I mean, Ravlox?
Yeah, I guess. So on the point of the snow, we are aware that snow's coming into houses, so nobody needs to report that. We've been taking a look at that mess, and that goes along with getting better snow as well, I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah, and I guess I just talk about stuff that I'm doing or trying to do. I've been working on getting Unity installed on my laptop so I could go over by List's house and do some in-depth scene building scenarios and training. So that way I could start actually being more useful to the team. For the moment, I'm fixing minor bugs as I can and doing basically customer service and things like that. You guys probably have noticed that along the lines, along the time, past few weeks and things. So if there's anything I could do to help, I definitely want to do that. So let me know on the forums or on Discord if there's something that's going on at the moment that I might be able to fix right away. I've been doing that for things as they've been brought to my attention. So.
And that's been super helpful. That's one of those things. There's so many different ways to communicate with me that, it's hard for me to keep up with all of them. So it's been immensely helpful having somebody go and look at that. Let's see. So yes, I was putting up the message for the dance music radio show tonight. I'd retweeted that, but I just added it as a message in game here for people who log in. If you have time, I think this snow will probably last, so it'll probably be in a snowstorm tonight. 8 to 12, from 8 to midnight. Let's see, I guess I can go edit this thing. Hold on. PM till midnight. That sounds cooler than 12 a.m. Alright, there we go. Now it's updated. Bam. Alright, there you go. Let's see. What other stuff did I have? Let me answer, because I didn't do hardly any questions at all, but let me go through that. Snugsy one asks, how about that bard tree? The bard tree, I've got it started. I've obviously, if you've been watching my blog, my Twitter, which is, if you don't already follow that, just follow Catnip Games on Twitter. That is me. I still need to help Ravlox recover the official Twitter for the company, for Shroud. But that one is me, and I've been posting. I'm pretty good about posting 3 or 4 times a day, sometimes 5 or 6 times a day, including sometimes posting cat videos when he does interesting things. Serenium Melorium, what's the best way to contact Atos for the purchase? Send me a mail in game. That's always the best way to get those. Let's see. House of Mangar asks, can you give away blanks with higher than normal durability? Bronze longsword with 275 durability, or Constantine chain chest with 325 durability. Now that would be epic. That would be epic. That would be a fun thing to give away. I don't think I currently have a way to set the durability above the base, but I will look into that. I mean, obviously we can do it. I'm trying to think of an easy way to do it. I don't think we currently have a command or right-click thing we can do for that. Let's see. Alchemy potion percent success rate changes between time of day. Are there bonus malice phases for crafting? I don't know. I didn't think so. You guys would know better, but if there is, there's got to be some other explanation. But I didn't think we had a bonus for crafting different stuff during different times of day. Elron, King of Elves, can we see formulas for crafting, gathering, and chanting? So, we'll see how long it takes me, but that is on my... I was trying to get it in for the end of the year, but as you guys know, I had, like, if I did one massive thing per day between now and the end of the year, I probably still would not get all the things I want to get done. So that's probably going to be in January, but I will be adding the verbose mode, is what I'm currently calling it. I'm going to see if I can do the same thing for crafting. For combat, the verbose mode is going to be another tab that's just like added to Lua tab. There's going to be another tab that'll be like probably verbose. That if you open that up, it'll spam basically in combat rather than it being, you know, you hit troll for 5 points of damage, or maybe you hit troll for 23 points of critical damage or whatever. It'll give you the play-by-play of here's all the math going through the math functions. You know, here's base attack chance equals 73 based on skill level blah blah blah. But it'll basically hopefully give you as much of a breakdown as I can give you guys, which that will be absolutely spammy as crap. But it'll help you guys understand what's going on. I know there's a few people who want it on. My expectation is it's going to cause some significant lag because it's going to be lines and lines and lines every single attack coming in, every single attack you do. But anyways, I'd like to get the same type stuff in for the crafting stuff. I'm less familiar with that, but I thought that would be a good one to help me go and like walk through the code, because that's basically what I'm going to have to do is go walk through the code. Let's see. Elron, King of Elves. I heard many games are coming to crafting and gathering. Deny or confirm. I will neither deny or confirm. It's one of those things we've talked about that I want. It's a real challenge, though. There's people who say, make, crafting more skillful, add skill games into crafting, but it's one of those things, skill games are kind of cool. The first, 100 times you do them, maybe. The second 100 times are kind of getting a little tedious. By the time you get to 1,000, you're asking me for some way to bypass it, or, gouging your eyes out with spoons or whatever. But anyways, that is one of those things we've talked about. If we do it, it will definitely be optional, just because, as I just mentioned, that type of stuff can be tedious. We were talking about doing it to get like a bonus type thing. Again, with the overhaul to the, what's that thing called? Hold on, I gotta look at my skill tree. The word has escaped me, even though I created it. Meticulous collection. All I had to do was start looking for it, and I'd come up with it. Let's see. All right, I'm hammering through these. I'm going to do a couple more minutes here, and then I'm going to do that final giveaway, and then bid you guys farewell. Let's see. So Monday is going to be the 30th. So I probably will stream on Monday, but not Wednesday. Let's see. So I was going to use this is the last stream of the decade. I guess it's the last Friday stream of the decade, but not the last stream, probably. Thumper 75019. When will we have maps in game again? So my dream right now is to bring back some of the old system, and even though that was slow, but I've got to come up with a way to make that faster. It's just painfully slow and agonizing. It also has its own issues and bugs. But the other thing I was looking at is that's a system turning over the Soda Maps, turning that back over to the community. And for those who don't know the history on it, Soda Maps was created by a player who played the game for years, but eventually moved on and turn the map system over to us. But you guys, we don't have time to go do a great job adding stuff to it. We have now proven that the browser in-game was not what was causing our crashes. Our crash rate, once we got rid of the browser in-game, dropped by exactly 0%. So that was part of the reason we were trying to switch away from it. But So that's another option that we have, is turning that back over to you, pulling back in the old system, and letting you, basically putting that in your hands and giving you guys all the code and data, and making that a crowd thing. We could actually host that. Sorry, Solar Sister, for all the raffle. If you notice, a lot of those people have already raffled more than once, or raffled, so their names aren't showing up. But anyways, we could actually even host that, consider hosting that. Depending on what we end up doing, we may end up getting a external box for the torrent box that's a more powerful box, and if we do that, that would be a great place to host it. That would be fast and have, you know, nearly unlimited bandwidth. All right, let's see. Scooby-Doo asks, are we getting extra raffles for having to listen to this? I'm pretty sure that he's talking about you. Let's see. Alex Blizz, can we get smelling salts have a 30-second buff effect preventing confuse? Otherwise, it's useless versus NPC mage spamming confuse. That's great. That's a good idea. That should have some type of ongoing effect.
So, if I could jump in with, I guess, one or two here too.
Mm-hmm.
Minerva wanted to make sure everybody knew that the complete set of 8 books for the Novian Carol are available on a vendor inside of the house, right at the end of the trail. So after the 8th book, there's a small tower here, and there's a vendor inside named Novian Carol, who has the books for sale.
Good information. Let's see. I'm actually looking up something, players. Let's see, mastery, focus. Someone asked here, how much reduction in fizzle chance when choosing focus specialization? The answer is 0.0625%. So every 16 point gets you a point of fizzle reduction. Not huge, but again, there's a lot of those people who ride the wire, and that may be the difference between being able to wear, you know, chain and plate or something like that and keeping your fizzle at 0. So let's see. Grumpy, glad I finally got you the map. Sorry it took so long. Again, I'm still having problems with sending stuff. I have someone who is supposed to be sending maps, but they're also having problems. They live in the neighborhood, but there's a bunch of boxes I promised by Christmas that aren't going to be there. But I'm going to their house tomorrow, and we're going to have a little shipping party at their house tomorrow. I say shipping party. It's never really a party. It's extremely frustrating and tedious work. Vector Gamer, will the snow ever build up on the ground? We actually do have some shader mods for snow building up on the ground. It's one of those things, though, that unless it's a scene that feels snowy all the time, there's not a great way to handle it, because you can't really handle the melting of the snow. Which means that if it ever snows in a scene, the snow doesn't really go away. Or else it feels weird, because then the snow just vanishes. But we could have it build up and then not build up. That shader doesn't work on everything, though, and I think the one thing that has been problematic with it in the past has been the shader doesn't do a good job doing the terrains. Terrains in the game, basically the ground has a special shader because it's a big chunk of the game and it has to render very efficiently. So it doesn't work very well on the ground. So that's one of those things we have to either build the snow into the ground and always have it on like we do in some of our snow scenes, or not have the snow in the ground. But having it build up is challenging. There's going to be some changes. Again, one of the goals for 2020 is we're going to be trying to get to the newest version of Unity, which has some new features that could actually help with some of that stuff as well, though, including a much faster, simpler shader on terrain system. So we'll see. Let's see. Z of Silverdale, still trying to understand why we can't get XP and skin, deer, etc. from spawners. Considering the limits number of pots, I don't think it's really an exploitable thing. Could we perhaps get that changed? I will look at it. There's some of that stuff that dates back to other problems. It wasn't necessarily a design choice. It was a simplify implementation choice. When creatures, because all loot and even like skins for animals and junk like that, that all gets completely generated on the server and doesn't even get handed to the client until a certain time. Scenes are built, we pre-build a lot of the data goes into a build that goes to both the client and the server. That's how a lot of our stuff works, because we've got to be able to handle the same thing in offline mode, but it's got to go to the server as well. So there's a lot of that stuff that's assumed that we know what it is at build time, that we know what things could possibly spawn in that space. So we've got some work there, and I'm doing a lot of hand gesturing that you can't see. But anyways, but it's not as simple, but it is one of those things we have worked around it in some other places. It just we have to add, there's an extra tedious step we have to go through. Obviously, dungeon spawners should have that same problem, but we've worked around that. Although that's still a little bit of a buggy system, so. Let's see. Anakito Mana, we'll stop there. How soon are you estimating to see an existing skill tree rebalance and the start of episode 2? So episode 2 should have been the initial map for it should have been out. My internal initial push will not be coming true. Just, again, me always being the optimist, the eternal optimist. And then 2, we've had a lot of, in addition to vacation times, we've had a lot of this thing you hear me doing, which I haven't heard from Travis in like 10 days. I'm hoping he's still alive. I mean, he's been feeling pretty sick, so I'm sure he's fine, but he's been down and out for a while here. So, but anyway,
I talked to him a couple of days ago. I think he's still under the weather.
Yeah, he has the same stuff he basically has the same crappy lungs I have, except he also uses vape product stuff that always makes that even worse. So, but anyway, so the skill tree. So episode 2 starting again when that starts. I'm kind of calling that when that map goes out, because that's when people can start moving in. My goal had been to get at least one new scene into episode 2 per release that we have. So basically a scene per month. Again, as we've mentioned, we're going to have a smaller number of scenes. We're shooting for in the neighborhood of probably 3 NPC towns. We've gone into this before, but the insanity of episode 1 was dozens of NPC towns. The main quest line spread over all of them, and there's a lot of towns that you only ever go to once. So the towns feel really dead and empty and boring, because, having even some of the ones that feel like they should be cool, there's no players living there because they all moved to NPC towns. So the goal is to have NPC towns be mostly NPCs, and maybe just a few outskirts player houses in those towns as well. But anyways, having one of those come up per scene or per release. A couple of those guys, there will be a number of outdoor scenes, and then there'll be a significant number of dungeons. One of the early scenes that I'm hoping to get live by, I was saying January. I'll go ahead and keep saying January, even though I know that's total fantasy at this point. And it'll probably be more like February, is the Chillblains Challenge Dungeon 2.0. That'll be going live early. But the skill tree rebalance stuff, I'm going to be doing some skill rebalance starting... Well, I've already started some of it, but it's going to be ongoing. If I push this patch out, that'll have a little bit of rebalance in it. That's also just based on feedback from a lot of people. I'm going to be making some crafting rebalance stuff as well. Again, that's one of those things I've I have a history of not sticking my fingers in it, messing around with it, but I'm going to stick my fingers and mess around with it some. But the skill tree rebalance, probably you'll see a significant amount in January, and some more probably every other month. Let's see. Trevor Bastion Point. Question: it appears that Sanyo updated Tartarus death metal slimes are now unstunnable. Was that intended? That was not intended. It may have been intended by him. I didn't know about it. So I will take a look at that. I saw there were a few things that he changed that I saw that were kind of intentional design choices on my side, which were things like having creatures with long patrol paths, so that they're actually moving around a lot. So again, I need to go take a look and see what stuff he's done. I kind of just gave him the green light to do whatever he wanted to. He has done a ton of amazing stuff with other scenes. I'm sure I haven't even gone back to look at Tartarus. I guess I need to go do that. But I'm sure he did great stuff with it. He just may have not known what some of the intended design was. And yeah, death metal slimes, I know those things are insane as designed. The other feature you can come looking to death metal slimes soon is still the change I have again locally that I need to actually go and test a bunch, which is updating their loot bundles. If you guys know the initial crazy slime that I put in the Rise, that for a long time was the creature that killed more people. It had the highest kill to death ratio, as in it killed way more people than ever killed it. Like dragons are way down there. This the slime in the Rise was in the range of like 5 player kills per time that it was killed. So, anyways, I have a history, and then it also has some good loot on it. The death metal slime needs to have its loot updated. It's going to be getting a bunch of metal ores and rare metals on it. Will be coming up soon. So, but yes, I need to go take a look at that. Let's see. Pikachulis asks, "What about foxes and pandas?" Oh, those are so cute. I do love pandas and foxes, but until I can get them to get in my backyard and get on camera, I'm totally not adding them to the game. Foxes, though, we do have in our backyards, you know. Can you increase the drop rate on rare fish, water and lava? I doubled the drop rate. Oh no, did I double, or I think I took out a 0 on the lava rare fish rate. Oh no, that's right. I doubled the rate of the fish appearing, and then I made them give 2 or 4 times as much food for each one you get. So there's still pretty rare fish, not quite as rare, but when you kill them, you get more stuff out of them. That was kind of the first nudge. Again, as I mentioned, I'm going to be taking a stab at improving some of the crafting stuff, because I've got to, because we can't talk about loot without also talking about crafting. So, let's see. Tazar ODE, does any player crafted item sold to an NPC go to the loot table, or only certain ones? This is a good question, Tazar, and I can explain. There's actually, the loot table is made up of, there are, I believe, 5 categories of items in the loot table. Each one of those items will hold, I think it's 2,500. I'll have to go take a look at the code, but it'll hold up to the last 2,500 items made. Those categories are broken down into like +1 to +3, and then +4 to +7, and then plus whatever, and that goes up to, like, I think the last category is +17 and above. So then, when we make loot bundles, we can add the chance to drop, just like you might have a chance for a sword to drop or a chance for a potion to drop. There's a chance for a category 1 player item to drop, and a chance for category 2, and a chance for category, all the way up the list there. So actually, a while back that system had been in place, but it rarely got used. I made one of the changes that was needed to make it effective, which is I went and made it so it kept that list mostly empty, as in we gave away more than we added to it. Because what was happening before is we gave away so few that list was just constantly full and overflowing. And I upped the rates and watched it for a release or so to make sure that those lists are staying emptied out. What we don't want to have is like players selling items and them just going in the trash because the lists are full. So I make sure those are now staying fairly full. And it's funny because when I was watching it, I'd see the stuff spike, and I could tell, like, oh, so-and-so just sold a crap ton of items to the thing, because it would be like all of a sudden there'd be like 150 bear hats, plus 4 bear hats showed up on the list. But anyways, so that's kind of how it works. I will continue to improve on that system. The other half of the thing I need to do to get more of that type loot into the game is I need to do what players have been telling me for a while, which is increase the value of items on items that have bonuses to them. Right now, selling a +1 and a +10, like, there's not a big difference. There's no incentive to be selling the +10 item. You're better off just breaking it down. Anyways, Mia Sway, does any player in the game have focus as a spec? I don't know. That's a good question. Every now and then I would go and I would do poll. We've got a list that we do a nightly generation that we pull off of our basically our database. It's the database. We have like 3 mirrors of the player, all the data in the game. In case you guys want to hear some tech stuff, we use Mongo, and we use we use a main server, and then we use a replication server that it'll auto fall back to, and kind of just basically a backup. And then there's a third server that actually does the same thing. It replicates all the data, but the game doesn't use it. It's never a fallback. It is a query data that we can sit there and hammer for millions of data points. So we can do stuff like pull. Let's go take every player in the game and generate a report that shows every single skill that they have and which ones they have, as set as training and whatever else. So anyways, when I get to my January and later time for rebalancing, that's going to be the first thing I do. Is I go and I look and see a couple things. One, I look and see which skills are used the most and which are used the least. And then the second one is I go and I see what skills, what passives people have up, because that's one of those things you can't really tell just by looking at what skills they're using. You got to go and you got to pull their passives to see who's using what passives, because there's some that and again, the other thing I try to make sure and do is look at players. Don't just look at every player in the game, because if I do that, then guess what? Whatever player newbies start with, that's what's going to be the most popular thing. Instead, I try to make sure and only pull players level 80 plus when I look at the data. Whew. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Is there any consideration to alphabetize the crafting menu book? Oh, I can't believe that's still not done. That has been, yes, that the crafting menu book and the mail interfaces both have about 100 fix this type bugs, tasks made for them. We just haven't got to them yet. Sorry. Again, the guy who is supposed to be doing that is the guy who is doing the Inkly stuff, which that actually, some of that is checked in, but it's not going to be exposed to you yet on QA. That's only exposed here. Actually, I don't even know if he has it exposed to Dev. I've just seen him posting screenshots. So let's see. Dark Mines with Death Metal Slimes. What happened to the Assassins? It's a ghost town now. I don't know. I'll have to go take a look at it again. That's Sanyo has been working on that and made a bunch of improvements. He may not be that aware of where stuff's going on. I like to, when I look at those things, I try to pull up heat maps and see where players are dying, and then I go and I fill that space with creatures. Maybe that's a good stream I can do sometimes. I can pull up our heat map system and we can go look at heat maps on different scenes so we can have some fun. I think I've done that once or twice before, but all right. Well, I probably should stop there. Let me see what. Oh man, like another 5 came in. Let's see. I can get through a couple of these. I'll do 2 more, and then we're gonna do the drawing and call it a Friday stream because we're 25 minutes over already. Auden Bjornson. When artifacts are combined, does it affect the loot table? It does not affect the loot table. I have actually added in a few more commons and uncommon drops, and I think I've even got a couple rares that can drop as artifacts. So that's one of those things I want to scatter out. That was part of the reason for the split, to make a lower version than the artifacts that have been out there, is so I can start having them drop in loot tables in like lesser zones and lesser creatures. So like tier 5 creatures can have a decent chance of dropping some artifact that may be meaningful. Let's see. Anakitos. Can we add an aquarium as a home furniture? We've talked about this a number of times. I keep aquariums, like I always kept aquariums up until fairly recently. The only aquariums I have right now are filled with tadpoles for Maxine, so she can see tadpoles turn into frogs. But yeah, I would love to get those in there. Fix the bird bats, yes. Let's see, streamer program, Original Smelly. I'll throw this last one on Ravlox here. Original Smelly, also known as Smelly. Any updates on the streamer program? And I'm going to go do the final drawing here, what they've all been waiting for.
Gotcha. So the update at this point is that I have an outline that I've formulated, and Justin and I have to hammer out details on a few minor points. once we have done that, which hopefully we'll find some time to chat this weekend, then I'll put it in front of Chris, assuming that we're going to have a team meeting this coming week. Basically, our next team meeting, that's when we'll chat about that and see where we need to go with it. Some of the stuff that we need to do is going to require some tech on our side. So that's what I'm trying to get things done so we could get this in place sooner than later. As soon as possible to get it back up and running. And as I said before, everything we want to do is be fair to everybody, fair to the viewers, fair to the streamers, and we don't want a competition. So there's not going to be any top 10 or anything like that. Whatever we do in the end will be across the board for the entire program.
Good job. So I'm scrolling back trying to find somebody sent me an email saying they sent me a message. Didn't get it.
Gotcha.
Or maybe I already answered it. All right, so we are ready for the... Oh, look, the snowflakes turn yellow in the light. Yeah, we got to get better snow. Snow that moves with these is just creepy. All right, here we go. You guys ready? Where's my thing? There it is. Here we go. Closing the giveaway. Do not eat the yellow snow.
Wise
Bam.
advice.
Rinaldi. Too late, Rambo. Let's see, Rinaldi. Trying to find your name. I know it's Rinaldi. I think it's Rinaldi space the green guy. Nope, just Rinaldi. All right. Congratulations, Rinaldi. Oh. There we go. Bam. Sent. I think I've sent stuff for all of the people who bought stuff. I think we're done. All right, guys. I think we're done here. I guess. Last thing we gotta do. We gotta find the important thing. We gotta find who we're gonna raid. Let's see. Oh, we got Taiki on. Oh man, we got like 3 great streamers on right now. We got Taiki, House of Mangar, aka Zol, and Alphane. Normally, yeah, those are 3 of my favorite streamers right there, and I cannot choose. So here we go. Random 3 coming up. A 2 is House of Mangar. Oh. Time to go to House of Mangar. If you want to learn how to play the game, actually, any of these 3 people are amazing. Alphane's going to be having a tournament. Maybe Mangar will go over there and we can like combine the goodness of these 2 things. But Mangar, you're about to get House of Mangar. You're about to get some people. Well, I was kind of hoping I wanted to send it to Taiki. I like Taiki, and she's even got an outfit on. You guys can defect from Zol's stream if you want to and go over to Taiki. Just as long as you're watching somebody. And Alphane, again, he's going to have a tournament that starts in 30 minutes. 30 minutes. All right. So I think we are ready here. Guys, again, thank you so much. Thank you, Ravelox, for your amazing reading and help on the stream. I think everybody else in the team is AFK or dying or not available at least today. So thanks for coming and keeping me company. And guys, let's go raid Zol. Look forward to new QA. Maybe if not tonight, then hopefully tomorrow. We'll see how things go. And look forward to a live build next week with some new stuff in it. And guys, thank you so much for all the support. Talk to you later. And I will keep the stream special. I throw that up for like 30 seconds here while I wait. It's going to kick us out because I've been waiting too long. I've got the raid thing up when you wait too long and then it auto sends it over to you. We will see. Do 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 do. Dun 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 dun. Okay, that's long enough. Anybody see cats? Oh, here we go. Now it's counting down. 5, 4, 3. Again, guys, thank you so much. See you next stream. And we're off.